Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Drive, where you stay home and learn how to drive. Today, we're going to look at proper racing lines and how to make your way around a racetrack as fast as possible. Now, in our last video, we went over the importance of having a home course, a place to call home, somewhere you can really lock it down, you can learn new techniques, you can put your new techniques, theories in action, see how they work out, and you'll know the difference because you're so familiar with it. Now, another thing that's... Are you done? You're always squawking. Somebody's squawking. So, sorry, somebody's always trying to talk over me in these videos, and that's Mac. He's another foster. How you doing, Mac? Mac, like Letty, only has 3 legs, and we're just taking care of him for the time being because they need love too. We do a lot of that here. We got a lot of animals. Today what we're looking at is proper racing lines. Now, there's always a fast way around the track. The racetrack has a layout, and there's another track basically within that track that's a super fast line. There's an old saying that's something like, I'm gonna mess this up, so bear with me, but fast drivers follow fast race lines, but really fast drivers create their own path or something like that. Or fast drivers can drive around a track really fast, but really fast drivers make their own track. Something of the sorts. So we're gonna look into that, how that affects driving and what can be done with that, because as a little experiment, without even really planning it out this way, I've been practicing on the Upper Hot Hill Raceway and the GT Arena for drifting and grip driving with GT6 like we've been doing so far. If you're just joining us now, this whole driving simulations thing is built around Gran Turismo 6 and PlayStation 3. Are you done? What I've done is I've practiced on 2 courses. One I use for grip driving and the other one is for drift with the same car. Basically the same setup except for little tire changes and stuff like that. I've been running those so far without knowing the lines at all. Now in Gran Turismo 6 there's driver aids like traction control and braking assist and all this kind of stuff, and one of them actually shows you the proper racing line on the course, and it's highlighted in green and it highlights red or white depending on if you should be on acceleration, coasting, on brakes. Depending what you should be doing, it'll tell you what to do. So in theory, that's really annoying, dude. In theory, it's like having a driving coach with you because he's gonna tell you brake, accelerate, mash the throttle, go. These little color-coded lines are gonna tell you all this. So without driving with that, I don't know what the proper race line is for these tracks. I've done them before, but years ago, and it's not in my mind right now. So it's something I really don't know what the proper race lines are. And I've practiced these courses and I've gotten down in the grip driving what I think is a pretty quick lap. I ran a race respective to the class of the car and I did pretty good. So I ran a fast lap a couple seconds even faster than that. So I think I've kind of maxed out for now my speed on the track, my potential for getting a faster lap. But what we'll do is we'll analyze the laps I've done. I think there's about 5. We'll analyze each one of those. You can see where my mistakes are. You can see where I started to learn things and got a little bit better. Hopefully you can see a transition of skill on the track. And then we'll check out those. And then I'm gonna run a couple laps with that driver assist that tells me the proper line to be on. And we'll see if that really makes a big difference in my lapping or my time or whatnot. So let's get in it. All right guys, so let's just jump right in. This is the first of many laps that I did. I recorded my fastest lap per session, which was usually once every couple of days. There you can see I came in really hot because obviously I'm still used to drifting this car and coming in the corners way too fast to make it over rotate so I can drift into my corner. Something I'm gonna have a big problem with is learning how to stick these wheels to the track. Even though this is a couple laps after this is like 5 laps into the session probably when I started running my fastest times of that day. You can still see the car braking loose a lot. I'm still not used to grabbing the traction, and in my head for some reason when it's on the edge of just sliding and braking free, I feel like it's fast. But I've proven to myself time and time again that it's not. Braking loose doesn't mean that you're going just a little bit faster. Loose is fast, but sometimes too loose will slow you way down. Watching it now, I kind of realize how far away I am from all the apexes. And there you can see that was it, just like totally totally sanding it. That corner is really tricky because you got to come into it braking on a downhill. That throws me off a lot. I'm not used to elevation changes so much. And then it goes from 4th gear all the way down to 2nd gear to get through that little chicane. And then that can really upset the balance of the car, leading you into another acceleration part on a corner, usually 3rd, sometimes 4th gear with this setup. And it's very easy to get unstable. Moving on to my next fast lap, which is roughly the same time. It's a little quicker, but just marginally, which makes me think that after this many sessions that I'm starting to actually solidify what I'm doing. So I might not be doing it right, but my line is obviously consistent because I'm running roughly the same times, unless I'm making a lot of mistakes and picking up speed in other places, which I'm totally unaware of, which is nice to be able to go back and watch these replays, which is also nice and a good reason why when I vlog and when I go to the track, I always want somebody filming. It's not just so I can have content for my YouTube channel and stuff to show you guys, but it's so I can analyze my own performance and see what I'm doing. There you can see I got really squirrely. I got on the inside of the corner way too much, trying to shave off as much time as possible. In a way, I start to push a little too hard and things get out of control real quick because you can upset the balance of the car on those rumble strips really fast. Or if you touch the dirt, you can lose a lot of traction. If you're pulling a high G-force on the corner, that'll send you into somewhat trouble. This corner is also very tricky. Knowing the proper braking point, it's one of the few hairpin corners on the entire course. There you can see I'm pretty sure I nailed the apex on that one, except for getting on the acceleration a little hard on the exit and getting the car a little sideways. An important thing I find is to stay calm and collected. I very often find myself clenching the steering wheel with my heart racing and trying to hang on to the car. Right there is a perfect example. Moments like these, you need to learn how to breathe, calm yourself, relax your muscles, calm your heart rate down. If you stay loose and relaxed, your reflexes will be very fast, much faster than you would if you're all tense and tightened up and all riddled with anxiety. Now this is my 3rd lapping session, and I've been keeping track of what days I do this, but not what days I'm running on this track because I do other things too. I also run that little bit of drift practice. So I'm not sure exactly how long it's been in between all these sessions, but this one I actually ran a little bit slower. I'm still at 1 minute and 38 seconds, but the previous video was 138.5, this one is 138.7. So I must have burnt some of my mistakes into my head, and now I'm starting to let them take over, and I guess my bad habits are becoming obvious now. And there's one of them. Here I'm running actually a little smoother, grabbing a little bit more traction. Maybe I'm trying to fix those mistakes. Now coming into that tricky hairpin, braking is very important. There I missed the braking zone a little bit where you see the brake lights come on and off, where I knew I hit the brake too soon, had to let off and get back on, which again upsets the balance of the car. You want it to be one smooth motion to hit that brake pedal, start your turn in, slow down the car enough. There you can see the car is on the very edge. And here, a little past the edge. I made it through squeaky clean, but I think getting sideways right there really slowed the car down. That's probably what affected my overall speed. If I had not got squirrely out of that little chicane and not drifted through it, I probably would have matched my consistent lap time of 1 minute and 38 seconds. Moving on to the next one, we start getting a little quicker. Session 4 out of 5. This is where it gets interesting, because somehow, somewhere, I started picking up some speed. My previous lap times have all been around 1 minute and 38 seconds. In this lap, I managed to pull off 1 minute and 36 seconds, which is a reduction of 2 seconds. In racing, 2 seconds is a lot. I think a big part of the reason here was I started to learn how to grip the tires up a bit more. And if you notice, I'm following a better line, and something I think is much closer to the proper racing line for this track. Because you can see that I'm in the groove where the black tire marks are already on the street where it's been worn. I'm starting to follow that more and learn new lines, where some corners from one to the next is not a slow sweeper as if you would usually think. but rather a straight line from one apex to the next. There I'm a little off the apex. You can see the groove on the track where I'm missing it. I'm on the outside a bit, but trying to carry speed, using 4th gear more instead of 3rd. The apex on that corner, I believe, was near perfect. I might have entered a little slow, but the exit was right on. I maintained traction throughout the acceleration, didn't let the back end slide out, pulled a much quicker time there. Same situation here with the downhill braking. I slowed down much sooner, kept the traction on the wheels, and a steady rhythm all the way through the corner. The last part's a little tricky, usually 3rd, sometimes 4th gear. The idea is to carry as much speed as you can down the straight, so that way your top speed is much higher, resulting in a faster lap time. For the 5th and final session of the week, I managed to shave off another second, resulting in a lap time of 1 minute 35 seconds, beating my previous times of 1:38 and 1:36. Let's watch and see if we can find the differences here. Little off the line, but trying to follow that groove. You can see I'm grabbing a bit more traction, staying more steady. Where usually I'd be counter steering for the result of the rear end coming over. And this one you can see I'm letting the balance of the car take over and mostly keeping the steering wheel straight, letting the natural weight transfer and rotation of the car make its way through the corner. Again, there you can see I'm more in the groove. I'm on the black marks that are on the street from previous races and previous cars, which is a good indicator of the proper race line, because that's clearly what the fastest guys run here. Still in that groove and still grabbing traction. It's probably the reason I'm getting quicker times now. What I thought before was completely on the edge was actually much slower. As you can see, I'm staying in the groove and keeping traction. Overall, brought down my lap time 3 seconds off my initial runs. So now we're going to start driving the course again, and we're going to put down the line indicator on the course. It's going to tell me when to hit the gas, when to hit the brakes, and where to be on the track for the proper line. We're going to see how much time I save with that one. Now remember, this lap was 1:35. So let's do a few laps to see if we can beat that. Alright guys, we're going to throw down a few laps with the driver line. I'm going to take you along with me. I don't know if you can see this very well, but I hope you can. Let's get into it. You can see the line, if you can see the line, it's going from green to white, which means lay off the gas a little bit. Now it's all green. Hit it to win it, baby. Let's see what we can do. Braking on that one. 3rd gear, let's pick up some speed. Already I noticed a couple differences in the line of choice. This thing is still very, very squirty. Right away off the get-go, that intro turning into the first corner was much earlier than I was doing. Now this section is pretty close, but missed the shift. Pretty close here. It tells me to go into 3rd. I'm going to keep it in 4th gear. The line is white, so that means stay steady. Green, and we go. Now let's see where that braking point was. I think it was, yeah, pretty much where I thought it would be. I let off the brakes a little bit early and lost the line there, a little squirrely on the exit, but it's actually kind of tough to talk to you guys and keep doing this because it's screwing up my concentration. I don't know if I'm going to run really quick on these laps, but we'll try. Oh, that got weird. It was all green and all of a sudden it just turned red right in the face. Anyways. We're at 1 minute and 23 seconds, which is pretty respectable, I think, so far. Let's see what happens. 131. Okay, that's 135, that was my fastest one. 138, which was my slowest of my faster ones. 141, brutal. Yeah, this corner is much better. definitely doable. Here it's tricky because you're braking downhill, turning in, which makes the back end of the car want to go out. And because this car is set up like mine, a lot of the brake pressure is set up in the front of the car, so that makes things a little tricky. Woo! See right there, that's because I've been doing all the drifting. That's how I held it straight. But I totally screwed this lap. I'm not going to be running quick this time. Let's get some fourth gear, have some momentum. You hit the rumble strip and you don't want to hit the dirt because that slows you down immensely. Alright, under the tunnel, look for that braking point. Boom, we're on it. Third gear, second gear. Okay, that's a little better. Missed the exit and got squirrely. Now the car, my previous lap is catching up behind. I can see him in the mirror. That's not a good sign. That means I've made too many mistakes to make this a fast lap. Alright, getting into the lap with the line indicator on the track. Let's see if there's a big difference. The timing says I'm pretty close. This lap I ran 1 minute and 35 seconds. My fastest time without the line indicator was 1 minute and 35 seconds. Still beats the competition, but I think there's still room for improvement. Something that I've noticed along the way on this one was immediately at the first corner my braking point was off. The second corner was off as well. My turn-ins were at the wrong points. Taking advantage of knowing this new information, I think it might help a little bit. The big problem is all my bad habits are ingrained in my head. So what I'm thinking, a new strategy, a new technique, a new plan of attack would be when I'm learning a new course to do it with the line indicator on. Most race courses around the world, around the country, they offer some sort of schooling, some sort of teacher to go with you in the car, tell you the right lines. Maybe this is the equivalent. If I use the line indicator, it would be like having an instructor with me. I notice a lot of the braking points where it tells me on the course, if it's a short braking point, I can get away with just letting off the throttle. If it's a long braking point, sometimes I can shorten that a bit. It's almost as if the line that they gave you is a safer route, but still fast. Sticking to it in grip driving wasn't much of an issue. Drift was a different story. There I let it get away from me. I find with the line it demands way much more concentration. Makes it a little tougher, but tougher is good. You learn more and you grow more when the battle is tougher. And that's the whole idea behind this. I'm gonna have to practice with the line indicator on a bit more to learn the proper line first and then adapt my own techniques to it, my own style. I found myself already getting away from the line. Now since you guys stuck around so long, here's a little bonus. I've been working on what's going to be the next section of this learning how to drive thing, and it's pretty extreme. We're going to take the touring car out on the track and try to learn how to drive that and run a championship. Here I run the touring car. Obviously it was going to be an RX-7. This car is much quicker than something I'm used to. Shifts are much quicker, the gears are shorter, the car is tighter, way quicker, way stickier, much more power, totally different power curve. So it's really something hard to handle. But I'm going to use this in future events, future races, because there's another section where there's a complete championship that I can use this car for. And compared to the races and championships that I've been doing now with the current setup on what is pretty much my RX-7 exactly, those are way tougher, and this car's performance points is significantly lower than my competition, therefore resulting in a much bigger challenge. This is just a little preview, a little sneak peek. I have to figure out a plan of attack and how I'm going to use this car in those events to become a better driver. But this is just a trial, a little preview of what's to come. Things are going to get really interesting. This lap I didn't run very good lines. I hadn't been practicing. I just took the car out for the fun of it to try the track out. This was when I was deciding if I would use this track. This lap alone I ran a 1:29. Which is much faster than the RX-7 setup that I've been running for drifting, and which is my current car setup. But keep in mind that this car is a monster. This is next level. This is going beyond what I need to learn. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.